Well, welcome everybody. Our guest speaker today is Bill Jurey. He owns Good Life Insurance and is a Focus Suites member. I believe we had you speak maybe when you first joined the Focus Suites, Bill, so I'm excited that you agreed to be our speaker again. Hopefully you can kind of give us an update and also just continue to share your entrepreneurial journey. So the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being able to come up again. I've enjoyed growing my business, not just starting, but continuing and growing my business here. Being able to meet a lot of great people. So yeah, that's definitely been beneficial. We have the addition of Shannon to the group here recently as well, which is a pleasure to have her here too. So. I've developed this weird passion for insurance. It's most people might think it's a little odd, but through life experiences that I've had and meeting different types of people, it's just something that I know that's needed, and I'm able to use my skill set to help people to get there. So. When the first time I did this, I was probably a little bit nervous. I actually went back and watched part of the video this morning, and I was just like, okay, so don't wear that shirt, and make sure you speak a little clearer this time, Bill. So I got myself some coaching out of that. But I prepared a little bit of information just on general health insurance. Kind of go through that real quick, and then you guys can ask any questions that you have, and then I didn't have a PowerPoint last time, so let's try this. So Good Life Insurance, I restaged things. Not so important about who said this, but it's the message that it's saying. The subsidy for employer-sponsored coverage has tethered healthcare to employment in a way that virtually no economist endorses. Appreciate the support on that one. Yep. Basically what that's saying is the entire health insurance industry has been stymied and has been lost most growth potential because of the way we have it tied to the employer. Everything else we do in life, our car insurance, our auto insurance, our financial advisors, all those different types of people, we're able to go out and we're able to decide those people. We're able to pick the things that we want in those industries, and it creates competition, which is always good. Competition, your supply and demand theories, always makes one, the product better, and two, it makes it more price competitive. And having health insurance tied to whatever job you currently have has really affected a lot of different things. And we look back 20 years, a lot of people just took a job because they had good benefits. They may not have liked the job, but they got really good benefits, they pay good, so they stay in that job for 20 years and they may not be happy. Being able to take health insurance outside of the realm of being tied to the employer is a great opportunity, and I'm able to do that for people. Just because you're offered health insurance through your employer doesn't necessarily mean you have to take it. You can go other places and get it, and that's one of the important things that I've learned this year, since the last meeting we had here. Choosing what you want and how much you want to pay for it, and then choosing what risk you want to assume. Just like if you're going out and buying your life insurance, your car insurance, or choosing your financial advisor as well, having that choice. So now you're not tied to that employer anymore. So what opportunity does that bring out for you? Okay, and that's what we're about, what we're trying to do here, and what we're trying to teach people is going out and doing what you want to do because it's something that you enjoy, and learn how to make money doing it. And not having to be tied to that employer, I think, is very important. Now, these are some numbers that I came up with. Oh, wait a second. I actually wrote this morning, and I don't even know what it says anymore. Hi, I'm Bill. I love connecting with people, whether it's through a clever joke or a helping hand. I thrive on making meaningful connections and brightening somebody's day. My sense of humor is a little bit dry sometimes, but once we click, I'll have you laughing in no time. Helping people isn't just something that I do. It's at the heart of who I am. That makes the world a little bit better together. And several people in here know who I am, and I'm always willing to help anybody do anything at any time. It's just kind of who I've always been, and being able to sit down, make somebody laugh. Sometimes, not everybody's always smiling, and when you can put a smile on somebody's face, you've accomplished something for that day. And that's, I don't necessarily go out looking for people that are sad, but if I see somebody that may not be in a good mood, maybe show them the lighter side of what's going on, or just tell them a quick joke to make them smile a little bit, to make their day a little bit better. So,
I just would like to interject that one of Bill's top 5 strengths is woo. So I don't know that would surprise anybody about that, but and we, as coaching, very few entrepreneurs have that in their top 5. So I think we shared that with you, which can be surprising, but that goes along right with this, right?
It does, very much. So basically what she said is I'm special. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. How do I make this? Oh, wait a second. Stop. Okay, so the true cost of healthcare in the United States. Now we're taking these numbers based on the average of employer-based coverages. Okay, $23,968 a year. So whether that's coming out of your pocket or that's the employer contribution. Okay, and anybody here that currently has employer-based coverage or has had it in the past knows that this number is continuing to rise. Now, if we look at it at a practical standpoint, the reduction to the ridiculous, as they call it, $11 per hour. So if you have a dual income family and one person's making $25 an hour and the other person's making $20 an hour, $11 out of all that money, besides the taxes that you're paying, is actually going towards your health care coverage. Okay, that's a lot of money. Now there are options. That group insurance from the employer, Affordable Care Act, Marketplace, Obamacare as it's called, is always an option. Short-term medical plans are always an option, although there's been some significant changes on that as well. Fixed benefit plans are coming about. Been working with those a little bit more here lately. They're a little bit more stringent, but they're very inexpensive. But you kind of got to it's one of those risk-reward type situations. If it's cheap, there's a reason why a Cavalier is $15,000 and a Cadillac's $50,000, right? You're getting what you pay for.
So can you tell us a little, I just have questions,
Yeah.
Bill. So again, I don't know everything about insurance. So can you just expand a little bit more on what short-term medical and really what fixed benefit is? I'm assuming I know what fixed benefit is, but that's making an assumption on my part.
Okay, no, that's fine. So short-term medical plans were originally designed to, if you lost your job and you couldn't gain insurance before you got back to that annual enrollment till the first of the next year, it provided coverage for that gap. They're relatively inexpensive. They have decent coverage. I actually have quite a few people on these types of plans, but they've changed recently to where they're the window to be able to get into one is very limited, which is kind of a disservice again to the American public from our federal government. Fixed benefit is basically talking about anything that has if you go into, it's more of an indemnity type, I guess, but a fixed benefit plan can be anywhere from, here is X number of dollars for reimbursement for going to the emergency room, You went into the hospital, had a long-term hospital stay, here's $5,000. It's schedule of benefits, I think, is probably a better way of most people understand what that is. American Choice Health Plans is kind of a derivative off of the Affordable Care Act. The nice thing about American Choice Health Plans, you can get into them at any time. Okay, there's different kinds of plans in there. There's a PPO option, there's HSA options, and there's even PSCH options, if I said that right, which basically is a controlled network. It makes it a little bit more less expensive, but here in Lincoln, almost everybody's involved with those type of networks, so that makes it a little bit better. They're benefit rich. So it's just one of those things that, again, here in the past 6 months, I've really taken a liking to, and I've been able to help out quite a few people with. Health Share Ministry Plan, that's kind of when you hear the advertisements on the radio, come join our ministry, and you can join our health plan, and it only costs you $400 a month for the entire family. And I can see Wes over there shaking his head because he knows exactly where this is going. You got to be careful because some plans won't take, if you're pregnant, won't take you. Some plans will take you if you plan on getting pregnant, but they're going to charge you like an extra, $200 a month, but they're only going to give you $1,000 worth of benefit. Well, okay, it doesn't take much of a mathematician to figure out, so I'm going to pay in $1,200 to get $1,000 worth of benefit. Okay, they're not bad plans. A lot of people choose to use them, but they're not the most robust solution. And after that, I just have to say thank you. Yeah, so that's all I had from that standpoint. But just kind of give an idea of what's available in the healthcare market. Brooke, I'm sorry.
Sorry if you already said it, whatever. Can you talk about options for entrepreneurs who don't have access to?
Yes, scan that barcode right there, schedule a time with Bill. And no, like I said, those are all options.
Okay.
Those are all options. Affordable Care Act, you have to have a special enrollment period, or you have to do it during annual enrollment time. Like with Medicare, annual enrollment's coming up, by the way, so if you know anybody that needs a review, that's something this year that we're encouraging for everybody. Both Wes and I are. They've significantly changed how prescription medications are working, so it's just, for that alone, just sit down and talk with somebody. Affordable Care Act is kind of very similar to Medicare in that sense. You have an open enrollment period. CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, has set special election periods to where you can go in, loss of a job, loss of coverage, those sort of things, where you can actually go in and get coverage during the year. But those are a little bit more tricky and are not as open as what Medicare special enrollment periods are. America's Choice, like I said, we can put you in one of those plans today, make it effective for the first of the next month. I think an individual can get into one of those plans for $300 to $400 a month, depending on age. Those are 100% age-based, but the nice thing about those is it goes by the age of the youngest spouse. So if you're 50 and you're married to a 25-year-old, you're getting a really good rate. I'm not saying go out and get divorced and remarry somebody younger. I'm just saying it's a better rate. No, in all seriousness, it's based on their 10-year age groups, starting at 18 or 19, and they go up through to 64. Once you turn 64, since it is a CMS product, again, it forces you over in to the Medicare side of things. You can't continue that after the age of 65. Another nice thing about that, the America's Choice plans, it's nationwide. It's offered in all but 6 states, and even in those 6 states, it's a Blue Cross Blue Shield network. So anybody in the United States that takes a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan will accept that card. So that is definitely a nice convenience of having that available. Your Affordable Care Act plans are offered by various different companies, Better or WellCare, Heritage Health, I think is what it's called for the Medicaid side of things. That's all kind of the same company, provides service on that. But the downfall about Affordable Care Act, you have a 5-county radius. So if you go on vacation, better make sure you're really sick, because if you're not really sick and it's just a tummy ache because you ate sushi in the wrong restaurant, that bill is on you. You'll end up having to pay that entire bill. So it's sometimes it's worth a little bit extra to go into that America's Choice plan. Your ministry plans you can pretty much get into any time of year as well. Your fixed products you can get into any time of year because they're not considered a true health care plan. So yeah, their options are available to anybody at all times, especially entrepreneurs that just don't have health insurance, because as a self-employed person, I don't offer myself that. So yeah.
When you talk about ministry, in my mind, I have a notion as to what ministry is. Is that actually what it is?
Yes.
So a religious affiliated
It's a
organization?
Yes.
That seems very interesting.
I've done a little bit of research on them, not a lot. And the reason I've kind of like steered away from them a little bit is, and again, don't get me wrong, for the money, they're good, but it's a very high risk again. You pay in, like I said, you can go $500 a month for a family on something like that. They have relatively high deductibles, but it's pooled money.
Okay.
So it's kind of a, if everybody in this room was to get together and let's all pitch in $500 a month, and one of us gets sick, that way we're covered. It's very communal in that sense. Okay. Another thing that it does that I kind of like is it fosters that sense of community, because I know that if I'm putting in $500 a month and Brooke's putting in $500 and Davey's putting in $500, I don't want to waste Brooke's money. I don't want to waste Davey's money. So I'm more cautious about maybe going out and just, I want a CT scan. Let's go get a CT scan. You're definitely more cautious about doing those sort of things. Deductibles are a little bit higher as well, but it is an option. I believe most of them are probably registered as nonprofit type situations. Okay. So yeah, it's a ministry.
Okay.
Yeah, just like you think it is. Yes, dear.
You need to, just from my perspective, check into more of those, because they're not all creative people.
No.
And having been on one myself, my deductible is only $300.
Okay.
I can add more to that if you want me to. I've read every single word of the terms and conditions 4 times.
Okay.
Well, and there's I know of at least 4 different ones, and when choosing them, I did a lot of research, did a lot of asking people before I finally decided on what was best for me.
Okay. Yeah, and there, like I said, it's a risk-reward situation again.
Well, again, I didn't have a high deductible.
Yeah.
It's what I could afford. I had to do more convoluted. I had to speak to the care provider and just say, okay, I'm self-employed, I'm self-insured, and most of them, one of them knocked off 50%.
That's good.
So I had to do a little more work, but it was what I could afford. And instead of the money going, money I sent, it went to a specific person for that particular need, and they reviewed each need. Is this actually a really need? Is this whatever? And having had a couple instances, they paid everything, and I had checks from all over the country with notes praying for me and everything. And I mean, for me, it was.
I would like to know what that plan is, because I definitely did not review that one.
Okay.
No, but I would honestly like to know, because I looked into a couple of different ones last year when we were trying to decide for our family, and it seemed like it was going to be quite a bit of work, and the structure behind being able to get benefit seemed to be quite a bit of work.
Well, the two I was looking between was like $400 and some a month, $7,500 deductible. This one was around 300, around 300 for my girls and me, and $300 deductible per incident.
Per instance, okay.
So, you know, but I mean, when you add all that up, it's like, okay,
How often do I plan on needing to get sick here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, yeah. So that kind of throws in that risk part that I was talking about. So yeah. So you have to sit down, and when I'm talking about risk, you have to weigh that risk, because even in Affordable Care Act, a lot of times your deductibles can be as high as $10,000. Okay. So you know, if you have a $1,500 deductible. And a $10,000 maximum out-of-pocket expense, and you're paying 30 or 50% past the deductible, okay, you're going to spend a lot of money. And that's why when I sit down with somebody and I talk about these sort of things, we really have to look at, you know, are you generally a healthy person? You know, what risk are you willing to assume? And this is a question I ask everybody, and the answer to this question is always no. Do you have $10,000 set aside to pay for medical expenses in the next year? Okay, I might have $10,000 set aside, but I'm not planning on spending on medical expenses. Okay, so that's why you got to sit down and you really got to look at those things. If you're paying $300 per instance for a deductible, and something happens where you end up with COVID, or you end up where you're having to go into the doctor's office multiple times over the course of a year for treatment, and I'm assuming there's time frames involved with those deductibles as well. That could get into the thousands of dollars pretty quick. So again, do you have $10,000 set aside to spend for medical expenses this year? Okay, I don't see anybody saying yes. But that's the way sitting down with somebody who knows insurance and understands how the insurance works is important to do. You don't have to just take the employer benefits. You can go to an independent agent. I know Wes does some work as well with health insurance, Medicare and health insurance like I do. But sitting down and talking to somebody and understanding exactly what it is, because everybody's been sitting there, they've signed up for their group coverage, they get that, whoa, I thought that was covered. It's like, well, it is once you spend $10,000 again. So being able to set the benefits up correctly, maybe putting some kind of an ancillary plan, like an illness or accident plan on top of that health care coverage, can mediate a lot of the risk as well. So, yeah. Davey, please.
What are your thoughts on subscription-based membership healthcare providers?
Direct primary.
Direct primary. So you're talking like what Todd does?
Mm-hmm.
If the entire world could switch to that system, 100% honest, if we could switch to that kind of a system, we wouldn't even need health care. We wouldn't need health care insurance at all. Okay, kind of what he's talking about is what they call direct care. We have a couple people here in Lincoln that do that. Dr. Todd Johnson is just down the street here. He's one of the leaders in Lincoln as far as that's concerned. You pay I think it's like $75 or $100 a month per person, and it pretty much covers any kind of incidental, I think if you go and need like blood work done, it's like an extra $20 or $30 depending on what kind of testing it is. You have access, 24/7 as far as, hey, there's something happening, let's figure this out. There was an instance that I know about where one of the ladies that he takes care of was on vacation. She slipped and fell, actually I think broke her orbital bone if I remember correctly. And they went through and they set up I think she was in California or Hawaii or someplace, and him and his staff like set up everything that she needed there. They were calling California to make sure that she got everything she needed to take care of what needed to be stabilized until she could get back to Nebraska, and then help set up the relationships that he has with the surgeons here in Lincoln. Was able to set up surgeries that she needed when she got back to Lincoln. Yeah, it's one of those. It's not going to cover surgery. It's not going to cover the emergency room, but we can do things to mediate those type of situations relatively inexpensively. But that primary care side of it is, yeah, I would love to see the entire healthcare system go to that.
I would consider that more wellness care. You know, it's more proactive.
Yes.
You've got to set the, you go in as much as you ask for questions, give directions on how to function more healthy in your life to avoid those bigger issues.
Yes, and the big thing about that is he's not tied to the system. He's able to say, okay, this is what's wrong with you, let's treat this. It's not well, according to the book, we think it's this. He's actually able to go in and diagnose and actually treat the actual issue and not have to jump through all the hoops that the insurance company or the healthcare system might force him to do. And you're getting, as it's called, direct care. It's not, you're not messing around with a bunch of funny business. So yeah, it's great. Thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate it. Maybe I'll add that to my slide. And
Good option.
I'll put Todd's number at the bottom of it and see if I can get a kickback. No.
My son is part of that.
He did. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's self-employed.
Yeah. And I do. And
I don't know what he's doing now. Now he's working for a larger company.
Todd actually works with small businesses as well. So yeah, you're putting me out of work. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I would 100% endorse that. I actually have Medicare clients that go to him. So yeah.
He does broker surgeries too,
Yep.
where you can get them at they go around insurance and
Yep.
you go through the same surgeons, the same facilities.
You would be amazed at what a surgery doesn't cost
Crazy.
if you have an advocate and you understand what's being involved there. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, it's the same if you have insurance and you get your explanation of benefits and it's what the cost was billed and what your responsibility is and what your final bill is. Like, I continue to be amazed at the cost of, it makes me sound old, but I feel like I used to be able to go, like if I didn't feel well and I went to my GP, it was maybe $75, right, for an office visit. And I went just a couple weeks ago and it was $250, $275, and I talked to a PA for maybe 5 minutes.
Yep.
And to tell me that I just needed to go home and rest, which at the time I didn't feel like rest was the answer. I wanted some medication to make me feel better, and that didn't happen.
Okay, so I'm not a pharmacist or a doctor, but I'm also pro anti-medication. There's so many different options out there as far as the medication side of it's concerned as well. If a doctor says you need to take a medication, take the medication. Don't listen to Bill. Okay, let's be clear on that part of it. But yeah, it's, take the medications you need, not the ones you don't. So
Interesting, primary physicians, how many of them don't know how much it costs
no.
to bring you on to?
Nope.
My primary, after I had a major surgery a few years ago, when I went back for my yearly physical and whatnot, he has asked me, he goes, I have no idea what those surgeries cost. And he goes, if you don't mind, he goes, I know you'll know, because he knows me, he knows how into the weeds I get with those things. And I laid it out for him. I told him, this is what they said it cost, this is what it was after the insurance adjustment, and this was my out-of-pocket responsibility.
Yep. And those are, 5-digit numbers, sometimes 6, or added together they're 6-digit numbers. So yeah, that's crazy. I went and had some lab work done at my general physician's office, and they subcontracted all their stuff through one of the companies here in town. They had switched because they offered them a better deal. And for whatever reason, my insurance didn't cover it because it wasn't 12 months since my previous lab work. So I ended up having to pay for all that lab work out of pocket. And I went to him, I said, you know, if I would have went directly to the company over there on 56th and South Street, walked into their office and let them do the blood draw, it would have cost me about $50. But because you've subcontracted this service out inside of your office, it was almost $300 for just general, you know, let's check your cholesterol and you know, whatever they check with your blood. I have no idea. Cholesterol is the only thing I can think of. But yeah, it was almost $300 for something that would have cost me $50 out of pocket, just going and having it done myself. So yeah, they have. And I told her that. She was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "No, I'm not kidding you at all. Don't you know this?" But because she's a general practitioner inside of an office with, you know, whatever, there is 7 or 8 other practitioners, she doesn't know what the cost is. They just go, "Oh yeah, we're getting a good deal on this," and they go, "Oh yep," you know, everybody votes yay, and they change the service, but they don't actually understand what's actually happening on our side of it as well. So, and this is something I always tell everybody. Telemedicine, almost every plan has it. If you're just feeling a little under the weather, make the phone call first. If you don't like the response or there's something is going on, they'll tell you go to urgent care or go to the emergency room. If you actually have a cut where you need stitches, sometimes that can be handled in urgent care as well. Now, the reason why I say that, telemedicine usually doesn't cost anything, and if it does, it's less than $20. Your urgent care, depending on your policy, again, can be little to nothing, maybe $60, $70 at the most on a copay. Okay, and they can handle almost everything. The emergency room, a lot of times, it's deductible and then co-insurance. There's not even a copay for it. So going into an emergency room can end up costing you thousands of dollars. So, 1, it helps out the insurance companies because they don't have to pay the bill. 2, more importantly, it's your pocketbook and not having to, like I said, something as simple as stitches, you know, and if you do you do go in with a concussion to an urgent care, they're going to say, hey, you need to go to the emergency room. They'll be responsible about that. But paying that extra $50 or $60 on a copay and then saying, hey, you need to go to the emergency room, at that point in time is worth a little extra money. So, yeah.
And we have great urgent cares now. I mean,
Yeah.
if we didn't have them, it would be a
They've-
different thing, but I broke my arm, went to urgent care, and got all my x-rays and whatever, didn't have to go to the emergency,
Yep.
didn't have to go to the hospital.
Yep. Significant price difference.
Right in.
Yeah. Urgent cares have changed a lot. Most of some, I would say half of them are tied to one of the particular hospitals here in Lincoln, but there's several of them here in Lincoln that are independent as well, and they take almost all healthcare coverages. Yeah, that is a great alternative. Because if emergency room for a broken arm would have been, I mean, out of pocket probably would have been $2,000 or $3,000.
6 hours,
Yeah.
exposure to all kinds of stuff,
Yes.
and the exact same outcome.
Yeah.
An x-ray and a sling,
For thousands of dollars more.
probably.
Yeah.
They set your broken arm.
I didn't have to have a cast, but, I mean, they did the thing and gave me the sling and wrapped it. They wrapped it. So, yeah, they kind of set it and, yeah. And I can straighten it.
And no
Nope.
kinks in there?
Nope, no kinks.
Yeah.
So you've talked a lot about insurance.
Yes.
Would you mind sharing just an update on your entrepreneurial journey since the last time that you spoke?
Yeah. I've found opportunities to share knowledge, to pass knowledge on. I've got a younger lady, younger than I anyway, that actually got a suite here who's working with me now, and that's been a great pleasure. Actually increases my accountability factor a little bit. So yeah, it's been continuing to learn, meeting the new people that have come in here, and really just the collaboration factor and being able to learn. You know, being able to meet Shannon and talk to her, she has a wealth of knowledge. Putting you on the spot here so people will go talk to you, and, help you make friends. But just kind of, learning what her life experiences are, her professional experiences and things like that, and being able to learn from her as well. And of course, being able to learn from a lot of different people here in the room, getting to know Jeff and Ben, and their kind of their struggles and their triumphs and things like that has been pretty fun. Jeff doesn't have a good sleep schedule. So, but that's inherent to what he does. But he's passionate about what he's doing on the cybersecurity stuff. Ben over here is just crazy excited about what he does. I'm excited about what he does too. I'm trying to figure out how I can send my children there, so my wife and I can have a date night sometime. It's like drop them off at Ben's and come back an hour and a half. Oh, sorry, are we late? But yeah, just being able to learn that, being able to collaborate with Wes on different things. Sometimes a small conversation can go a long ways. And just kind of having that sounding board. Shannon and I, she helped me with a flow diagram yesterday that I thought was going to be really simple and ended up being a little bit more complicated than I thought. And we had
Beautiful mind moment.
Yeah.
On one little piece of paper and went all the way over the whole whiteboard.
Yeah, I was like, I started off with on the pad. And I was like, I think I could get it all on here, and I'll just rip it off, and I'll take it in the office with me. And I think we took up probably 80% of that dry erase board side to side, and I don't know, 5 or 6 different colors of marker. And I was like, oh, well, no wonder I couldn't figure this out just sitting at my desk. So
On your little 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, right?
I downloaded some free software to try to make the, and I was like, man, this just isn't working. So being able to put it on that big board was kind of nice. But yeah, having that opportunity to talk with other like-minded people on a daily basis is pretty awesome. So.
Well, we were just talking this morning, just how here at the Focus Suites, dynamics change, right, as Focus members move in and out. And we so appreciate who you are, right?
Thank you.
So, you're going to talk to everybody who comes, right?
Yep.
That woo's coming out.
Yep.
But it's also more of a collaborative effort too. So
Yep.
Just that type of engagement can change the dynamic definitely for the better. And what we're always trying to strive for is more collaboration. And so thank you for being you. We appreciate that. And
not something my wife says on a regular basis, but thank you. No, but thank you.
You're welcome. So does anybody have any other questions for Bill?
Brooke,
After
yeah.
open enrollment, because that's a busy time for you.
Yes.
What are you most looking forward to in your business?
Well, I like to take a week or two of downtime. Just because it's already started getting hectic. My planning this year is completely different than the way I've approached it in the previous years. So I'm anticipating the next, until the first of the year. I've already been staying till past 10 o'clock most nights here the past couple weeks anyway, and that's going to continue until mid-December. Just making sure that I'm able to take care of the people that I promised to take care of. So. Yeah, I'm planning on, and I don't know if I'm going to have to get a hotel room in a different city. So, but I'm planning on taking a week off and not doing a darn thing somewhere in the middle of January. So.
Maybe someplace warm.
I'm thinking any place with a pool.
Okay.
Any place. I don't.
Embassy Suites here in town. Something.
I don't care if it's an indoor pool or outdoor pool, as long as it's got water in it, and I can go swimming. Oceans? No. Kansas City in January, Oceans of Fun might be a little on the chilly side. But I do know this great hotel down by Springfield, Missouri, that has one of those indoor-outdoor pools. I might book myself a couple of nights down there. So, yeah.
If there aren't any questions, thank you, Bill.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Our speaker next week is Olga Martin with Builders Bill Jurey. And so she will be our guest speaker, and we welcome all of you to come next week, and hope you have a great week, and we'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
There's coffee and creamers, yes.
Finally, it's given. Creamers.